In the bustling heart of the city stood St. Mercy General Hospital, a place where miracles were born and destinies rewritten. Among its many doctors, one name was beginning to rise above the rest, Dr. Ian Malik, a young physician in his late 20s known for his compassion, intelligence, and a heart that beat not just for medicine, but for humanity itself. Every morning, before the first rays of the sun pierced through the glass walls of the hospital, Ian would already be there, walking through quiet corridors, greeting nurses with a nod, his stethoscope hanging loosely around his neck. He had one rule: treat every patient as if they were family. But that morning, something was different. As he scanned his patient list, one name caught his eye: Alina Raymond, 29 years old, billionaire heiress, business magnate, and daughter of the late industrialist Zuffer Raymond. She had been in a coma for nearly 8 months after a devastating car crash. The world had all but given up on her recovery, but Ian hadn't. When he entered her private room, it felt like stepping into another world. Soft classical music hummed faintly, sunlight spilled across expensive curtains, and machines beeped rhythmically like the ticking of fate. On the bed lay Alina, pale, serene, and still, as if frozen between life and death. Her beauty, even in silence, was striking. Her golden brown hair framed her face gently, her chest rose and fell with each shallow breath. Ian looked at her, then at the file in his hand. Her vitals were stable, but she hadn't shown any response for months. He sighed softly. "Good morning, Ms. Raymond," he said out of habit. "It's another beautiful day out there. Maybe today will be the one." Nurses Sarah and Mehak entered, carrying new bandages and medical supplies. "Doctor, it's time for her wound dressing," Sarah said. Ian nodded and approached the bedside. He carefully lifted the sheet and began changing the old bandages on her chest and shoulder, where the accident had left scars. His touch was gentle, professional, yet there was something deeper, almost spiritual in his movements. He believed in energy, that kindness could reach even the unconscious. "Alina," he whispered softly, "I don't know if you can hear me, but your story isn't finished yet. There's more waiting for you, out there, in the world. People you haven't met. Sunsets you haven't seen." The nurses exchanged glances. They'd heard him talk to her before. Some thought it was pointless, others thought it was sweet. But to Ian, it was necessary, for healing wasn't just science, it was belief. As he gently adjusted the last bandage, something strange happened. For a fleeting second, he felt a faint twitch beneath his fingers. Her hand, cold and still for months, moved slightly. Ian froze. His breath caught in his throat. "Did you see that?" he asked quickly. Sarah frowned. "See what?" "She moved, I swear, her fingers." Mehak shook her head. "Doctor, maybe you're just tired. You've been on shift for 14 hours straight." But Ian wasn't imagining it. He leaned closer, checking her pulse again. It was steady, perhaps a little stronger than before. He felt a spark of hope ignite in his chest. "Alina, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand." No response. Just silence and the hum of machines. Still, Ian didn't give up. He pulled a chair close, sat beside her, and began talking, not as a doctor, but as a friend. He told her about the hospital, the patients, his dreams. He spoke of how fragile life was, how sometimes the most beautiful things came from pain. "You know," he said quietly, "I became a doctor not for the money, but because when I was young, I lost my sister in an accident. If someone had fought harder for her, maybe she'd be here today. I guess I'm fighting for you now." The room grew quiet again. Only the rhythmic beep of her heart monitor broke the silence. Hours passed. Shift changes came and went. Still, Ian stayed, watching, waiting. There was something magnetic about Alina's stillness, as though her soul hovered somewhere close, struggling to return. Later that night, as rain tapped gently on the window, Ian was reviewing reports when he heard a faint sound, like a sigh. He looked up sharply. Alina's lips parted slightly, her eyelids fluttered. "Alina," he whispered, heart pounding. Her hand twitched again. This time, clearly. The nurses rushed in as the monitors began to beep faster. "She's reacting," Ian exclaimed. "Increase oxygen, monitor vitals." Alina's breathing grew heavier, eyes flickering beneath closed lids. Then, slowly, unbelievably, they opened. Her gaze was unfocused at first, disoriented, then it found him. Those hazel eyes met his for the first time, and in that instant, something powerful passed between them. "You're awake," Ian whispered, voice trembling. Alina's lips moved, voice weak and raspy. "Who are you?" Ian smiled softly. Someone who didn't stop believing. Tears welled in his eyes. For months, he had talked to her, believed in her, fought for her, and now, fate had rewarded his faith. The nurses stood frozen, unable to believe what they were seeing. Sarah whispered, It's a miracle." Alina looked around slowly, confusion clouding her face. "Where am I?" "You're in St. Mercy Hospital," Ian said gently. "You've been in a coma. But you're safe now." Her eyes filled with tears. "My father." Ian lowered his gaze. "I'm sorry. He didn't make it." For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then Alina closed her eyes again, a single tear slipping down her cheek. Ian gently took her hand. "You're not alone anymore. You've been given a second chance. Don't waste it." That night, the hospital buzzed with whispers, the billionaire who woke from a coma, the young doctor who refused to give up. Some called it luck, others called it science. But Ian knew better. It was faith. And as he looked at Alina sleeping peacefully, he couldn't help but wonder, why now? Why after so long? Was there a deeper reason behind their connection? He didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning. Her awakening would set in motion a chain of events that would change both their lives forever. And somewhere deep in his heart, Ian felt it, destiny had just entered the room.